How to feel confident if you don't fit the ballet body type but everyone else in class does. How to know how much you need to be eating. How do you embrace insecurities about your body? How do you handle body comparison among your colleagues and friends? Just a little heads up, in this video we will be talking about body image and eating and nutrition, so if that's something you find very triggering, please feel free to just click straight off this video. We are going to try and provide helpful tools for you, but yeah, I just want to say this first and foremost, we will be talking about those topics. Hey guys, what's up? If you're new around here, my name is Hannah Martin and this is a super exciting video because we are actually in New York City, Central Park, and I'm joined by the wonderful Nicole Sabella, also the CEO of the Nourish Dancer program. She has done an amazing segment on the Make It Happen Academy, which I will link all below and talk loads more about later on in the video. But Nicole, please introduce yourself and the amazing things that you've done.
Thank you, Hannah. I'm just so excited to be a part of Make It Happen Academy and to be, asked to join Hannah. I'm just so honored, so thank you. I danced for 10 years with the Mark Morris Dance Group, toured the world, dancing on many of the world's greatest stages. It was truly a dream come true, and I learned so many lessons along the way because, as we know, a dance career is very hard also, even though it's a dream come true. Now I am a certified holistic nutrition, wellness, and mindset coach, and I funnel all of that experience, all of that knowledge, and all of the training I've had into my coaching company, The Nourish Dancer, where I offer one-on-one coaching as well as workshops, masterclasses at all types of studios, schools, colleges.
It's amazing the work that she does, and I've actually worked with her a bit myself, and I can say that you are amazing, hence why I've got her here on the channel today. I'm so excited. We are actually going to be touching on your questions, so you guys sent them in on Instagram. We're talking about body confidence and nutrition. This is a subject that's really close to my heart because, to be honest, we all struggle with it. I don't think I've ever heard of a dancer who hasn't had some sort of insecurity or some sort of question mark around the subject of body confidence and nutrition. So that is what we're going to touch on today. We have your questions right here and we'll just get straight off to it.
Love it.
Someone here has asked, how to feel confident if you don't fit the ballet body type but everyone else in class does?
Yes, this is a huge one, like Hannah mentioned. The first thing I would say is to be okay with feeling that way, right? So often a tough feeling comes up and we try to push it down or tell ourselves that we shouldn't experience that. And I want to normalize that feeling for you and say that a lot of us will feel that way, but I also want to give you practical ways to cope with it, right?
Yeah.
So I want to talk about the idea of confidence and that there's both intrinsic and extrinsic confidence, right? And the confidence outside of us, that's external validation and the teacher giving you positive praise and your coworkers or your dancer colleagues, really giving you a lot of positive feedback. And of course, that feels amazing. But then there's also intrinsic confidence. And that comes from the inner work and the inner confidence that you cultivate within yourself and your own self-worth and your self-value. And sometimes when the outer world isn't validating us the way we want, or we're seeing all these images of ballet dancers and we're trying to reach some ideal that's almost, impossible to meet sometimes.
Yeah.
When we're not getting that outer praise, we really need to dig deep and focus on the intrinsic confidence and building that within. So that is so much of what the body confidence course does that Hannah and I work together to create. So I really, really, encourage you to dive deep into how you can build your own inner confidence because it really affects how you show up on stage and studio. And
100%.
Yeah.
The course that we've created in the Make It Happen Academy is really about building your intrinsic confidence. It's all about building you up so that when you go into those pressurized situations, those environments make a lot of us feel insecure about ourselves, that you have that inner strength, that you are built up in that confidence, you have the tools that you need to be able to thrive in those environments instead of crumble. But we all need that support, we all need that little help along the way, and I feel like the course and what we've talked about, I helped edit and everything and put it all together, and it really just helped me so much just going through video by video. So if that's something you're interested in, obviously everything will be linked down below. But I think another big thing around this topic is the idea that there is a ballet body Every body is a ballet body because
Absolutely.
everybody can do some version of ballet. Like even my slightly injured body at the moment, it can still do some form of ballet, even if it's not like the typical ballet bar sometimes. And I think trying to get away from the idea, us as dancers, we're quite perfectionists. So if we see one ideal body type as perfect, we are going to strive to try and achieve that in any which way possible. Something in my dance journey that I'm trying to embrace more is that there's actually no one perfect body. So there's nothing that my perfectionism can latch onto that's like, okay, we need to achieve this. It's like, no, actually where I feel best and where I feel fueled, where I feel like alert, that I'm not lapsing in concentration, where my body doesn't feel injury prone, that's actually my ballet body. And my ballet body is not going to look like someone else's ballet body. And that's okay. My ballet body is more muscular. And that's something that I've realized, you know, I don't know if you ever had this, but we all try and conform to this image that we think we can achieve. But ultimately, if you embrace your best self, your body is going to look beautiful when it's happiest and healthiest and operating at its best. And you're going to feel best within that too. So I think trying to stay away from an image of what you think the perfect body is really, that is a dangerous concept in itself. So I think trying to stay away from that feeling or that image and finding what it is for you and your body, that's will help you along the way.
I love that you touched on how you feel in your body and how your focus is, and if you're feeling energized, that can be a helpful tool in confidence building too, is to switch to how you're feeling on the inside versus how you're looking on the outside.
100%. Another question here is how to know how much you need to be eating. This is a really tricky one. Nicole, give us some guidelines here. What should we do?
Absolutely. So the first thing I will say is we are all unique. I use a concept called bio-individuality, which basically says that biologically we're all different, right? And we know this deep down, but we need to be reminded of it, right? There's no perfect what I eat in a day post. There's no perfect one size fits all here, and it's very tailored to each person. With that said, there's a few, guidelines that I can share with you now. The first is to help your body know that there is dependable fuel coming in. And we do that by having the solid 3 meals a day: breakfast, lunch, and dinner. If it's a heavier dance day, or if you're very active, we want to add in some snacks to support that too. And of course, lots of hydration to support your muscles and your body to function at its best. Now, when you're making a plate, we can talk about sort of the proportions of that plate. So everyone's going to be a little bit different, but I always recommend to start off with these proportions. So thinking of half of our plate being vegetables, plant foods, a quarter of our plate being protein, whether that's animal protein or plant protein, totally up to you, and a quarter of the plate being grains or potatoes or a starchy vegetable. And a little bit of healthy fat, right? We need to cook with some olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil. If you love to eat nuts and seeds, those are great also.
Also, Nicole works one-to-one with people, so I think it's so individual and so tailored to you that there is, as you just said, no one size fits all, but you can definitely have help along the way and guidance to try and figure out what that is for you. I think it's a bit of a life journey. What worked for me maybe 5 years ago doesn't work for me now, and your body is changing and shifting. You're changing as a human being. Your activity levels are constantly changing. I think something for me, I'm very much like a consistent person. I'm like, well, this worked 3 years ago and we've been doing it ever since, so it can't change. I think being a little bit more adaptable and realizing that what my body needs is going to shift and change is something that I've had to learn. And I think experimenting a bit as well is something that I'm learning is a really helpful tool to kind of take some of the stress out of it. I'm like, wow, I've never tried to fuel in this way before. Why don't we just give it a go? A little bit like training. Sometimes you try like a new exercise and it's like, well, let's try this and see how I feel and see how it affects my body and then go from there. I don't recommend doing that in peak performance season when you need to be consistent and stuff. Yeah. But when there are more down times where you're like, oh, maybe I try this, maybe I try that, and just trying to make it more fun, less stressful, and less body focused and more feeling focused. Like, okay, what do I eat that makes me feel good for what I'm doing? And sometimes that is like on a weekend going out and having pancakes with my friends because that makes me feel good and fulfilled and happy. A lot of the time it is going and having that salad with lots of chicken and some grains, and I realized after I have that, I eat that because I choose to, not because it's like I have to eat salad because I'm a ballet dancer. No, I eat salad because it makes me feel good and refreshed. And salad, that might not be it for you. Maybe it's pasta, maybe it's put X, Y, and Z in that. You are gonna go on a journey with your body, and you are gonna go on a journey of figuring out what's gonna make you feel your best. And you're probably gonna make mistakes along the way. I certainly did, I'll put my hands up. But that's all part of the journey. It's all part of the journey. And in ballet class, we make mistakes every single day. Like, we never have a perfect ballet class, right? We always fall out of a pirouette or a jump. You have to forgive yourself every single day. If you don't, you just fall into a black hole. Why aren't we the same? Well, sometimes I know I can be much more critical about myself with my diet. Sometimes it's like, well, I've made it feel really sluggish now, and I probably maybe could have fueled better for that day. But it's like, well, learn from it, carry on, it's fine, it's not the end of the world. It's actually a learning opportunity of like, okay, maybe next time when I have that performance coming up, I might just add a bit more of this and a bit less of that, or maybe I just need more in general, and having it more as a learning opportunity rather than, there's a lot of questions on here, we won't be able to touch on them all, but about feeling guilt. I definitely have struggled with that in the past, but let's turn this guilt into like a learning opportunity.
Yes.
Like, it's not about feeling guilty, it's like, oh wow, I now know that doesn't work for me, I'm gonna try something else.
It's all information.
Exactly.
It's all information, yeah.
Another question here is, how do you embrace insecurities about your body? It's a tricky one, this one.
Yeah. So again, I want to answer this similarly and validate that it's okay to have insecurities about your body. In fact, it's quite normal. I just always need to start off with that, because then we can take some of the guilt off. It's like, phew, I'm normal, right?
It's so true,
Right.
so true.
Now, the first thing I would ask you to do is to find an area of your body that you do feel grateful for. Maybe you look in the mirror, and it could be something so seemingly insignificant, but as dancers we know no parts of our body are insignificant. I always joke it could be your pinky toe, it could be your eyelash, it could be your middle finger nail, whatever it is, right? I don't care. Start small. Start on an area of your body that you really do feel, proud of. And another thing to do is to focus on the support your body's giving you and how it enables you to dance your best. And so when we think about that, it's like, oh my goodness, my body is breathing, my body's seeing, my heart is beating, and I'm doing leaps and turns and all of the incredible feats that dancers do. So switching to what your body is doing for you. And then the next thing, which seems counterintuitive, is to really hone in on what you value about yourself that has nothing to do with dance, right?
Really important.
Yeah, and really knowing yourself on a deeper level, because as dancers, we have to work so hard and we're in the studio so much, and sometimes we lose who we are just as a human. And when you're really confident and really strong in who you are on the inside, your artistry deepens, your confidence deepens, and you're able to have a broader perspective. And those insecurities, while it's normal that they come up, they won't sort of take over your life in the same way.
Yeah. So good. I love that. And actually, it's an exercise that I tried after doing the course, is like looking in the mirror. And sometimes on those days where you need to do it, it's very challenging.
Oh my gosh.
Like, those thoughts are very strong when you have those difficult days. And I think it just, again, changing, sometimes you need, I call it like a hijack moment, a moment where you're like, okay, I am on this trail of thought, very negative thinking, and you just need this, okay, I'm gonna choose to have at least one positive thought today. And that can just be, then it's like a bit of a chain reaction, and you'll then attract more positivity. That's what I think. So that's such a really great exercise to do. Now, my biggest thing is, don't do it and continue the negative thought pattern. Like, don't be like, well, there really is no part of my body that I like. It's like, that defeats the object. Really push yourself, like you push yourself in ballet class, like you push yourself in Pilates, like you push yourself in a performance. Push yourself to really hone in on that body part and really appreciate it. And you'll find that maybe you're gonna knock the chain reaction back into place.
Yes. What you mentioned about the train of thought, so there's actually science behind that, which we touch on more deeply in the course, but it's something called neuroplasticity, where we really do have control over our thoughts, but it does take practice. That doesn't mean it's easy. So we'll touch on that much more deeply in the course.
100%. And there's lots of inspired action steps in the course actually that help prompt these new ways of thinking, new patterns of thinking, because there's no point throwing loads of information at you and you don't really know what to do with it. The course is tailor-made to make it a transformational journey. So you are interacting with each and every part of the course, so you are able to add it to yourself and take it as, you know, fuel and fire for the rest of your career, hopefully. So we have time for a couple more questions. One here is, how do you balance fueling your body without over or under eating? I know we kind of touched on this a bit earlier, but what would you say specifically for this question?
I'm going to build on what we already discussed in the previous nutrition question, as taking into account that you're sticking to those steady 3 meals a day, which of course you're fueling your body, but you're also building trust in your body. Your body knows nourishment and fuel is coming in, and your nervous system can kind of go like, right? There's not concern about am I being fueled, right? Now, building on that, we want to think about our hunger and fullness cues. The first thing to know that as very physically active dancers, sometimes we don't get the hunger cue.
That's so true.
Yeah, right? After a really long dancing day, you're just in go mode. You know you should eat, but you haven't felt that cue yet. So that's when I would say make sure you're sticking to the plan, right? The 3 meals a day. But if you are out and we're talking about fullness cues, that's where you really need to understand that you are a unique individual, and it's not comparing what you're eating to the friend sitting across from you. It's not what your colleagues packed in their dance bag for their snacks. It's what you need. And knowledge is power, so having an understanding of nutrition and what snacks fuel you and what balanced meals fuel you, understanding what does it feel like when I'm full? What does it feel like when I feel comfortably full versus overly full versus really needing, not feeling satisfied yet. So that's gonna be unique, and when I work with dancers one-on-one, we really tailor it, specifically, and I can ask you all of these questions about how you were feeling after this rehearsal or that event or this show. But for now, I would take it from an intuitive perspective and focus on hunger and fullness cues.
So good, so good. I can definitely relate to that of like sometimes when you're in your busiest season, you actually feel the least amount of hungry, which seems so counterintuitive. But I think what I started realizing is that if I'm, not hungry, then I don't need to eat because my body doesn't need fuel. And what I started noticing was I just started having no energy. So I wasn't trying not to eat. It was just like, I don't feel very hungry at the moment. So I guess that means my body doesn't need fuel. That's a thinking that we need to scratch out. If your activity level is going up, you do need to use a little bit of common sense to be like, okay, I'm outputting a lot more. I am telling you, you can go for a certain amount of time doing that and you'll be fine. And then there'll be a point where it's like, wow, my body feels depleted. You'll be more injury prone, which, trust me, is not fun. Okay, when you get an injury and it sticks, it's not a fun situation. So you want to put building blocks in place that stops you from getting to that point. So fueling your body consistently, even when it's not maybe always asking for as much food as it actually needs to operate well. It's sometimes a difficult concept to get over in your head, but it's very necessary to make sure you stay injury-free, make sure you're running, and then you get to a rehearsal that's really important and you're just like, oh wow, all my energy stores are gone. You almost let yourself down because it's like, wow, because I didn't fuel all those other times, when I really need to hit the mark, I've got nothing left. And I think that is something that I've really focused on over the years, is learning when my body isn't giving me hunger cues, but I have the little other warning signs that are like, oh, my energy feels really low today. Maybe I need an extra snack. This wasn't in my plan, but I feel so sluggish going to work. I just don't feel like I have it in me to keep going. Normally I pick up a coconut water, which has natural electrolytes, natural sugars. I'm a very all or nothing person. So I'm like, okay, now we have to have a big meal and it has to have the protein and the carbs. And it's like, no, sometimes it's like, oh, I feel a bit depleted. I'll just grab a coconut water or grab something to just bring that back up, and then also take note and be like, okay, my next meal, I need to make sure we're just add a bit more in here. We need a little bit of, maybe a bit of cheese or a bit more carbohydrate just to bring their glycogen stores back up. But that's something I have learnt through making, again, all the mistakes, but that's
normal.
part of life.
It's normal.
And your body, again, is going to be different. So yeah.
We want to get out ahead of it. I guess I'll say that.
Yeah.
Like when you're being very, very physical, a busy season, we want to get out ahead of it, not necessarily always waiting to feel hungry. Especially like if you have 15 minutes between rehearsals and you're not hungry yet, but you only have those 15 minutes, that's when you eat, right?
Yeah. Just a few bites of a cereal bar or something. I always remember when I was a gymnast and I used to compete, I never liked, I was a nervous performer and I just didn't like to eat much before the performances. The competitions could sometimes spread over 6, 7, 8 hours. And if I didn't eat, by the third or fourth apparatus, I would just start to my whole bit. Yeah, you could, my mum used to see it. My mum was my coach at the time. And so they would just, even in moments like that, like having a bit of chocolate or something was really necessary just to, I remember I used to put it in my mouth and it was, okay, we're just getting the sugar levels up right now. And it's not always an enjoyable experience. You're athletes, right? You see the people, if you watch tennis, they're there, you can see them with the gels and stuff, just to keep their energy levels up. And so you do have to treat your body like you are an athlete. Okay, so we'll do the last 2 questions here. How do you manage being confident with your body in an audition/stressful situation? And how do you handle body comparison among your colleagues and friends? It's a really tough one.
Yeah. I'm going to do a mashup of those 2 questions because comparison comes up most often at auditions, I feel like. You're in a room with all new people often and you're seeing, them stretching and, intimidating and all of that. So what I would say, this confidence building, right? It doesn't have an on and off switch. It's more like a slow volume turn up.
I love that.
Right? We can't know that there's an audition tomorrow and suddenly decide to be confident that night. Yeah?
So
we need to be doing all of the practices that are in this course and all of that intrinsic confidence building. We should be building on that and growing on that so that it's that slow, high volume buildup. Once you have that and you're constantly have that high volume confidence, walking into the audition, you're able to walk in knowing that, hey, comparison probably will come up, right? Maybe we could reframe it as like, wow, she is just her leaps are just so beautiful. Her ballon is just so high and buoyant. And maybe I could tap into that syncopated rhythm in my own ballon, right? It's turning that into inspiration for yourself. But again, we're going to turn to that self-compassion too, because when the self-comparison comes up, not judging that and knowing that it's human. It's human to have it. And right now in this moment, I'm going to choose to focus on inspiration.
I love that. The thought of self-compassion actually really, when we worked together, was so important because it's so often as dancers, we're always looking at what's wrong and beating ourselves up or being like, no, this isn't right. And feeling like we have to be that strict in order to progress. And wouldn't it be interesting if you just tried to see what would happen if you flipped that on its head and approached everything from self-compassion? Now, I'm not saying I think some people think that's a complete lack of discipline and be like, oh, well, I'm not going to do my exercises today because I'm being self-compassionate to myself. No. Self-compassion looks like discipline. It's like, I so believe in myself that I know what my body can be if I do X, Y, and Z and I fuel well and I believe in myself. And that's an avenue that you can push yourself forwards from a positive angle rather than if I don't do my exercises and if I don't do this, then I'm going to be rubbish and I'm awful. And that's why I have to do these things. So I think approaching it from self-compassion of hey, I'm not where I want to be yet, but that's the exciting part. That's the thrill of oh, I can't wait to see what I can be.
Yeah.
And so I think really coming from a place of love rather than a place of chastisement is something that, I don't know, when we talked about it, I had never really come across, I had come across the concept, but really applying it and being intentional with it, which I loved what you talked about just then with confidence and dialing it up. As you are with, we have full body strength as part of my Make It Happen Academy, you're not gonna make gains, you're not gonna make any progress if you just decide to do that one day of the week and you're like, oh, that's enough, The same with, as you said, building up your confidence. You have to practice it daily to build that confidence muscle. It's not going to come in a day, it's not going to come in a week. It's going to take that time and being intentional with your thoughts and with your intentions. So yeah, I'm just so excited to share this course with you that we've created. Also, if you're looking for more one-to-one input and you want to go on that journey, Nicole has the amazing Nourish Dancer program, and she would love to go on that journey with you. And she is fantastic at what she does. So if that's something you're really interested in looking more into, everything is going to be linked in the description. We really hope you'll go on this transformational journey with us, because it can really, I really think it can turn things around for you in your dance career. I just want to say a huge thank you to Nicole for being part of this video, part of this academy. I feel like so privileged to have you on here. So
thank you.
Yeah. And also her Instagram will be linked down below. So make sure you follow all of that, because you always put great content out there.
Yay, I'm just so excited to support you, whether that's in the course or one-on-one, and to stay connected here with Hannah and Make It Happen Academy. I'm just like really honored to be here. Thank you, Hannah.
And remember, dream big and make it happen.